the show. So buckle up, there's no telling where we're gonna go. A glory and fame, a silver and gold. So call us outlaws and leave the fortune for the bold. No more hesitating, we're legends in the making. The gravity escaping, light speed breaking. Let's get elevated. Let's get elevated. Oh yeah. A 5-4, a 3-2-1. We're gonna fly. We're headed straight for the sun. 5-4, a 3-2-1. We're gonna fly straight for the sun. No more hesitating. We're legends in the making. Gravity escaping, light speed breaking. Let's get elevated. Let's get elevated. Let's get elevated. Let's get elevated. I'm the main attraction. I'm about to get mean. I'm about to get loud. Spotlight on me when I take my bow. You're gonna pay full price if you want front row. I got a Hollywood star. I got my name in stone. Are you ready for the show? Sit back and let's go. I'm gonna blow your mind. I am a superstar, and I knew I've come this far. You better make way. Get off my stage. Lights, camera, action. I'm the main attraction. I'm the main attraction. You're gonna feel your heartbeat when it starts to rush. One look, leave your jaw wide open, 'cause I'm illustrious. Are you ready for the show? Sit back and let's go. I'm gonna blow your mind. I am a superstar, and I knew I've come this far. You better make way. Get off my stage. Lights, camera, action. I'm the main attraction. I'm the main attraction. I am a superstar, a superstar, and I knew I'd come this far. You better make way, you better make way. Get off my stage, camera, action. I'm the main attraction. I'm the main attraction.
Easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Our family started RVing a few years ago, and when I think about all those campfires and fishing trips and sporting events, these are memories that are going to last a lifetime. I want to help others do the same thing. Hi, I'm Kevin Smith, General Manager at the all-new CLICKIT RV in Milton Freewater. People in this community are very familiar with this location and the great service they've always received. So the biggest question we get is, where is Keith? The great news is, Keith is still here.
I've seen a lot of changes. I've seen a lot of things come and go. Through all the changes that we have seen, one thing that has not changed for us is the quality of our service.
Buying an RV is a big purchase, but it should be a fun and happy experience. So whether it be in sales or service or parts, our mission is simple: be the best. From our team here at CLICKIT RV in Milton Freewater, we invite you to come down and experience the difference.
Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to coverage of iRacing on LSRTV, of course, on the Community Radio Network. And you finally reached the playoffs. It's round number 1 from the world's greatest race course, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway from 16th in Georgetown on your iRacing simulator. We are ready to go. I am Wesley Outland. Jansen, it's Jason. Jason Rockefeller. Did anybody catch the N in his name wrong? Wow. Jason, you didn't catch that?
I just saw it for the first time. I guess I have to go as Jansen tonight. I'm no longer Jason.
Oh, I love it. Jansen Rockefeller's alongside. No, it's Jason Rockefeller. And Jason, we're ready. It's been a long, fun season. We had a fun summer league with about 2 months of fun racing. You get right back on the high horse for those final 6 weeks. And now we have locked in our 12 drivers to go for the playoffs and a run for the championship in the Northwest CLICKIT RV Fixed Setup Series. Your take on what we'll see in Indianapolis tonight, my friend.
Yeah, I actually ran a Next Gen Series race here for the Mach 1 Performance Cup Series for the FTSR League a handful of months ago. Obviously, different type of car compared to tonight, what we're going to see with this Xfinity Series or B car, what you say. It's going to be tight. The racing, it's going to be hard to pass here for sure. High speeds. Very tight going into the corners. You want to make sure that you apply brakes, but not too much brakes because then you're not going to get the runs off the corner. Make sure you don't get right on those rumble strips into the corner because if you do that, you're going to start to get loose, slide up the racetrack. And like I said, it's all about getting down into the corners, making sure you hit that perfect arc, hit the apexes in both turns 1, 2, and also 3 and 4 because if you don't do that, you're going to be heading for that wall.
And by the way, as we go to on-track activity right now, as we go to the Speedway, you see Dan West Jr., and I have no doubt that if there's a guy that's got a chance to run for the championship crown, Jason, it's got to be Dan West Jr. This guy has really come along strong in the last month since we came back after Labor Day with this series.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. He's been so strong all season long. Once we came back, he has won 3 out of the last 4 races. Heck, if we probably weren't on a super speedway last week, I guarantee you he would have probably taken another W. And he's had 2 poles since we came back, and he's had 3 wins. So 2 times he's on the pole, 3 wins. That's a pretty good track record if you're Dan West Jr., DWJ. It's going to be interesting to see what he can do. He's been a guy who we're used to seeing up at the front. But as of this resurgence back from the summer series break, he's been better than ever. We've seen how good his racecraft is, how much he can just shoot out of the cannon on these restarts, and really just maintain the gap to the rest of the field. He's definitely going to be one that we're going to be keeping an eye on here in these playoffs.
And by the way, he is number 2, but son number 1. How about this? What a resurgence for Devin West. Ryan Bloom on the racetrack right now. He's the number 9 seed. Drivers, by the way, I believe that are in the playoffs, you're going to see a special ticker for them, if I remember keeping up with some of the logistics and the conversations, and there they are. If you're in blue, Jason, you're in the playoffs. You want to get a green light at the end of the night, you want to see one of those playoff drivers do that because they'll advance to the round of 8.
Yeah, and all the playoff drivers started tonight. I believe we actually do have the playoff grid, or at least the point standings rather here. That'll probably come up in a bit. But every one of the playoff drivers, the 12 that made it into the playoffs here for the Northwest CLICKIT RV Fix Series, are going to start out with 3,000 points. If you had a win, though, that was an extra point added to your point total to start the playoffs. So if you're Dan West Jr., those 3 points that you earned, or 3 wins rather, before the playoffs started, those could be very, very valuable if we get to Homestead Miami Speedway and he faces an elimination, because those 3 wins could be all the difference maker in what makes him get in to the round of 12, or the round of 8 rather.
We'll see how all that shakes up. Christopher White, by the way, had to drop out on the Monday series, and now he is the driver that, of course, is going to try to make a run for a championship on the Wednesday program. Monday changed for him. Here's a look at, by the way, your top 20, and there's the points reset, obviously. You look at a guy that I'm so surprised looking at this, Jason, Devin West. We didn't even know if he was going to be able to qualify into the playoffs. He's now the number 1 seed in the playoffs.
Yeah, and it was interesting to see, obviously, how that all went about with him and his father, to see them be top 2 in the point standings. That's got to be pretty cool for those two, not only Devin West, but also, his father, Dan West Jr., to be 1 and 2 coming into the playoffs tonight. That's got to be really special. I'm expecting them to do great things here tonight. I don't believe Devin is actually here tonight, so he is not going to get the points necessary, so he'll probably drop back all the way, if I had to guess, to that 12th spot by the end of this. But those 3 points could be all what he needs when they do head to Richmond next week, and then Homestead Miami for the finale in the round of 12 before they hit the round of 8.
All right, it'll be very exciting and fun to see how it all shakes out for sure. As right now, we'll wait to see if there's any more takers to come down. Let's take a little quickly look at the Kaufman Creative weather conditions. By the way, Jason, what do you think of the new graphics Charles put together? Charles, you chime in here, boss man. What made you decide to change the graphics? I like them. They look good.
There are some things in the works. I can't divulge too much on air, but hopefully, maybe by around noon tomorrow, we'll have even some more stuff for next Wednesday.
There you go. Next Monday, by the way, too. Next Monday, too, right? Next Monday, next Wednesday, all that. That's right. We are off next Monday. You're exactly right. We are off next Monday. So, all right. So, Kaufman Creative Weather Conditions. Can you bring that back up one more time just real quickly? Because I never got to say anything. Kaufman Creative Weather Conditions, 76 degrees, partly cloudy skies, sun cloudy, wind speed 7 miles an hour. Jason, track temp, man, 117 degrees. Boy, that's hot on an abrasive track like Indy.
Yeah, that's very hot for sure, Wesley, especially here with the B car. I mean, when you get off turn 1 and off turn number 4, especially, that car, well, even turn 2, actually, turns 2 and turns 4 before you hit those long straightaways, that is going to be the troublesome spot, because you can get very loose on the long run once these tires start to wear out. And with the track temp being so much hotter than the ambient air temperature, we're going to be in for a good show tonight. Talked about how this car would probably get tight on the long run. Well, with the weather conditions and how hot this track is here today at the virtual Indianapolis Motor Speedway, we're in for a hot and slick one.
Here's your information on the bottom left of the monitor. Practice done, qualifying in the books. If anybody else wants to roll out, they better do it right now. And then, of course, we go 200 miles, 80 laps. That is half the distance of the Brickyard 400 official race, by the way, coming back for the 30th edition in 2024 at Indianapolis. And, of course, a lot of people are excited about that. And, man, 200 miles. This is going to be a good race right here. Jason, what is the strategy? Obviously, 2.5 miles, abrasive racetrack. We always mention the word snaking in the corners with open wheel cars. Could we see the same thing with these Xfinity machines? And most of all, what's the short shoot going to entail throughout the night for the race?
I think the short shoot, it's going to be very interesting. Obviously, we've seen a lot of trouble there over the few years with the Indianapolis 500, with the IndyCar series, the NTT IndyCar series, rather. And as for the snaking, I don't really think you're going to see the snaking as much as what you would see in the next-gen car. These cars are definitely aerodynamic dependent, but not nearly as much as the next-gen car. They just don't suck up as well down the straightaways, especially with this kind of aero package not being a super speedway. But, I mean, I guess you could consider this track a super speedway in open wheel sense with the oval. But here with the stock cars, it's fast, yes, but you're not nearly pulling the same amount of downforce and obviously the same amount of air reduction from the car in front of you to the car behind you to close up with the rates that the Indy cars do. But definitely going to be interesting to see if anybody does want to use that. In my race a few months ago here in the next gen, didn't really do much of that. I went to the wall a couple times down the front straightaway in case somebody got a runoff, but there's just nothing you could do here. But the thing that's going to be difficult is getting into the corners, into turns 1 and 3. You talk about, if there was going to be that snake effect. Well, when they head into the corners, if you're getting ready to get for a pass, you better be ready to take it because you do not want to be side by side coming off these corners because it will definitely slow you down and it could cause a wreck.
Should be certainly interesting to watch as we get ready to go 200 miles. And Christopher White, the king of Indy. This man's won many times on the series. Fast qualifier. He's going to leave with a green flag for round 1 of the playoffs. Paul Newton, the road course king. Flank to the outside, row 1. Row 2, Brian Bloom, former driver Sean Brightsman of the Cup Series champion. He'll fire 4th. Row number 3, two-time Truck Series champion Dan West Jr. and Clifford Toby Ritters in the playoffs. We'll see what he can do in the 23. Seth Frazier, welcome back. That's a name we haven't heard in a while. And the legend Frank Harris in the 11. Row 4. Top 10, that's going to be Joshua Marcy, the 35 for the Vols, and Troy Daggett, Jason, the 99, here at Indy.
Top 20 starting in row 6, you have CLICKIT RV's own Kevin Smith and last year's Northwest Truck Series champion Tyler King, the 21. Row number 7, LSRTV's own Jeff Stabnow and a guy who just barely made it into the playoffs this year, Brett Johnson in the 7 machine. Row number 8, Catman James Vining there in the 333 and Ryan Gormley, the prodigy, in the 22. Row number 9, Gary Nichols driving the number 8 as always, and Carl Burke as well in the 53. Top 20, row 10, John Ottenbacher in the 89, and Dana Rogers in the 07 machine.
Row 11, Stephen Bartlett. There's a new name on the series. In the number 39, B.J. Tindrick right there to the outside. Row 12, we'll find Chris Camary and Ron Hunter, truck number 30. Row 13, Chris Kynes and Scott Hutchinson. As we move to the back of the pack, Tyler Kibb in the 38. There's your lineup as the entry music comes to an end. The playoffs ready to roll here. 2.5 miles of Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the world's greatest race course. It is the playoffs. Jason, would you have any other racetrack be the opener for the playoffs, sir?
Yes, but also no. This track is so historical, obviously over 100 years old, but there's just so much characteristic with this racetrack, so much history. You go back all the way over 100 years worth of Indianapolis 500 memories and even more, obviously if World War II didn't happen and whatnot. But with that being said, this is going to be an interesting one. I haven't really seen how these cars are going to perform here. I'm expecting them to kind of run just like real life, obviously, and like the next-gen cars, but obviously these things, very loose, high speeds, low grip in the corners. These tires are going to be squealing, and guarantee you tire fall-off is going to be a key with how hot the track is here tonight at 117 degrees.
Going to be interesting for sure. His name is Jason Rockefeller. I'm Wesley Outland. Charles Wooten is in the production booth. And, of course, we welcome you to coverage as we are ready to roll here for our program. The playoffs, the Northwest X Series. Of course, that's the Xfinity B Series cars. Round of 12, race 1. You want to be one of those drivers, Jason, that at the end of the night gets to the end of the rainbow, and that means you advance to the round of 8. But to get there, you've got to survive the chaos that is Indianapolis. We could see long green flag runs. We could see chaos and mayhem. You never know what this track will provide.
Oh, yeah, definitely going to be an interesting one. I am ready to go. These boys are ready to go. I'm ready, Wesley. Round of 12 playoffs. It's time to go, baby.
It's been a long regular season, but now we have arrived to the run to a championship. The playoffs in the round of 12 set to get underway in Indianapolis. Pace car is in. Green flag flies. We feel the roar at Indy. Give lap 1 to Christopher White as the field final. Jason, don't you? Oh, I love it. I love it, man. I feel like I'm watching the Indy 500 on ABC like back in the day. Remember the rocket cameras?
Yeah, I absolutely love these camera shots at Indianapolis. In my opinion, I feel like there is no better place to have these wall cameras than right here at Indianapolis. I think probably in my opinion, me being the nerd I am, just the little things is what matters. Is coming off turn 4 on the very first lap of the Brickyard 400 back in 1994. Dale Earnhardt wanted to lead that first lap so bad, he dang near took the outside wall down, heading off turn number 4, and you could see the plants, the flowers moving with the Brickyard 400 logo sitting right next to the camera. I'll never forget that. Watching all the replays, so much history here at Indianapolis. I'm glad the Oval's back.
Yeah, looking forward to that. The 30th running of the Indianapolis. The 30th running of the Brickyard 400 next year. By the way, NASCAR unveiled the 2024 calendar. I love it. There's actually going to be a 2-week summer break during the Olympics, which is very abnormal. And yes, Indianapolis will be on the Brickyard. And of course, this is the opening race for the playoffs. We're right now just already closing in on lap number 3. This time by, it is Christopher White. How about this, Jason? 6 drivers, all of the drivers in the playoffs, by the way, with the exception of Devin West, are in the top 15. Impressive.
Yeah, no surprise here, Wesley. I mean, when it's playoff time, you better bring your best because that's usually what it's like, you know, obviously with the playoffs. This year, we've seen playoff guys win at every single race in the NASCAR Cup Series. Last year, the first 3 to 4 races were won by non-playoff guys. So once the playoffs start, if you are a playoff driver eligible for this championship, you better bring your best. You better practice. I'm sure drivers like Tyler King, Toby Ritters, Brett Johnson, those guys have probably all practiced here during this 1 week from when we last raced, and they're ready to go here tonight.
working already 10 miles into this race. Remember, it's 2.5 miles here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Here they come, coming off of turn number 4. Gotta love those camera angles. Right there, rocking the camera. Christopher White, Ryan Bloom, Dan West Jr. That's Paul Newton. There's Sean Brightsman. And they're all on the bottom of the white line as they work again through the short chute, Jason. Working their way to you again off of turn number 2 to the back straightaway.
Off turn number 2 they go, and Chris White is just in a zip code of his own right now. Few car lengths ahead of Ryan Bloom. This battle, though, for the 3rd spot's kind of starting to heat up. You see Paul Newton, last week's winner at Talladega, with a wreck coming to the finish. He was able to get that first win of the season. He's trying to chase down the guy who won the previous 3 races before last weekend, DWJ there. You see him, he's got that great arc into the corner. It looks like Paul tried to go to the inside a little too early, cost him a little momentum down this straightaway, but they're still side by side as they go into 1.
Continuing on with that move, going back out of the corner into turn number 1. And there you see Dan West Jr. from the tailgate of the rear end of the 55 machine. The Effective Web Solutions entry and under attack now. Paul Newton. Newton trying to run down West. And Newton under attack by Sean Brightsman. This is 4th, 3rd, 4th, 5th going on. And now you see from a different angle, Sean Brightsman looking at those 2 cars in his miss. Newton goes to the inside to make a run on DWJ. He can't clear it. He worked short chute going to 4.
It's so key, Wesley, here to get right down to that white line here at Indianapolis. So much grip down there. If you don't get to that white line, you are going to be really, really tight off these corners. Don't get below it, because that's where you start to hit that rumble strip part. You'll start to get loose. You can lose it. I saw it a lot a few months ago back in the FTSR Mach 1 Performance Cup race that I did. You see Sean Brightsman, he does just that. He gets down below the white line. He's able to maintain it, but so far he's not able to make up the ground right now to Paul Newton off turn number 2.
All of this going on now as he in the back straightaway. Working lap number 6 of 80 laps. I know 80 laps doesn't sound like a lot, Jason, but you got to remember, man, this is a 2.5 mile racetrack. Like you said, that's 200 miles. These guys will be tired by the time this race ends.
Yeah, I was definitely tired by the end of my race at Indianapolis. I mean, this race will wear you out, definitely as a driver. It is a momentum-based racetrack. You just want to make sure that you hit your marks, get all the corners down and right, and you're learning every single lap. You're going into 1, 2, 3, and 4. As you see Paul Newton, he gets into turn 1 a little bit wide, opens up the door for Sean Brightsman. They're going to be side by side, now back to single file as they work into 2. I ran 200 miles here last time, and boy, oh boy, I was sweating in my sim racing seat by the end of it, man. It is a tough deal. Like I said, it is a mental game. You have to make sure you hit your marks here.
Let's see if he is hitting his marks. You're on board with the road course king, Paul Newton, car number 27. His Ford is right now behind 3 bow ties. 2 Toyotas behind him. He's in the middle in that 4th spot. Let's give you manufacturers real quickly. 3 Chevrolets in the top 3. The Ford of Newton, 2 Toyotas in 5th and 6th. Chevrolet Ritters in 7th. Ford of King in 8th. Chevrolet Frazier 9th. And Ryan Gormley right now the top 10. That's the way it stands. So pretty good manufacturer mix up in the top 10 also, Jason, in the early going as we approach lap 10 next time by.
Yeah, definitely for sure, Wesley. The Toyotas have kind of had a history of being really good here in the late years of the ovals here at Indianapolis. But really, this has been basically a Chevy-dominated racetrack for most of the time here on the oval. The first Brickyard 400 won by Jeff Gordon back in '94. That was with a Chevy Lumina. And then back in 2020, Ford Mustang Kevin Harvick took home the victory. And then obviously we went to the road course from 2021 to 2023. We'll see who will win the 30th annual edition of the Brickyard. But right now, top 3 Chevys, Chris White, he's pulled away a little bit, but Ryan Bloom, he's still hanging right in there by about 1/4 of a tenth back right now, doing a good job trying to hold off DWJ and Paul Newton as well.
hanging with all those drivers, as you said, looking inside and outside. By the way, 70 laps to go. Jason, fuel-wise, what do you think? 30, 35 laps on a fuel run for these cars? So they might try to make 2 or 3 stops in the race?
Yeah, I would say so. This is just going to be like Talladega pretty much, because it's obviously a 2.66 mile super speedway, but you're on the throttle pretty much the whole time. At least here you're off the throttle, so I want to say between 32 probably to 35, 40 laps, I'd say. So somewhere between 30 to 40 for sure. Like you said, you hit the nail right on the head, and you have to execute here in Indianapolis. Obviously, you see right there's the pit road. You're going from flying here off turn number 4. You're trying to get all the way down to pit road speed is a long front straightaway. And then when you get off pit road, you don't just merge back onto the track. There is no, huge width of room. Obviously, you go from turn 1 in a narrow pit exit lane with grass all around you. You go to turn 2, it's super flat, and then you go into turn number 2, and you still have grass on either side, so you have to make sure you have a good exit here. You really want to make your pit stop all worth the while.
Got to remember that the round of 12 has already expired for the, of course, drivers of the Monday series. When we take off next Monday, we'll come back for the, of course, the round of 16. We'll move into the round of 12, I believe. No, I'm sorry. It's the round of 8. Because those drivers, again, elimination races was held this past Monday night in the events, of course, that took place at the Homestead Miami Speedway. So 12 drivers now down to 8, and that will fire off at Iowa in 2 weeks on October the 16th. But you got to remember, Jason, and we kind of hinted on this series, they don't get many weeks off. They literally just finished off the regular season after running for a month, and then they're running the playoffs tonight. Round 2, don't overreach. You're at Richmond next Wednesday night.
Yeah, and Richmond is going to be a very tough track for these guys. I've seen it from obviously calling the races over here on LSRTV and also other leagues as well. It is just a tough track to run at Richmond. Turn 2 seems to be the troublesome spot, heading off the corner, guys hitting the wall. You want to make sure that you get right down on the bottom of that racetrack, because right here we got a car coming into the pits right here. That's the 53 of Carl Berg. I believe that left front was absolutely destroyed. It looked like it was dragging on the ground, so it looks like Carl Berg could be out of this race here early.
We're working 12 of 80 laps in the opening round of the playoffs. This is the round of 12. Race 1. Drivers in blue are playoff drivers. They want to get that green bar. And I'm sure that while we advance, Jason, into next week, we'll have like a green for if a playoff driver wins, they advance in the round of 8. Drivers that are at least in the 8 on the pole. Oh, big trouble! Front straightaway! Big trouble! Johnson's involved! Ritters has crashed! Stabnow's involved! Tyler King is wrecked with the entire front end of the Band-Aid Ford shredded off! No, that's Toby Ritters. He's blown an engine. Oh, no! Jason, what in the world happened?
We're about to find out right here. Coming off turn 4, I've seen Toby Ritters getting very loose off these corners, off of turn number 4 and off turn number 2. Oh, no. Oh, it looks like Josh Marcy got a little trouble there off the corner, and then unfortunately just collected Toby Ritters. We're going to have to take a look again and see what happened, maybe from a forward-facing the driver's angle to see if Ritters came up or if Marcy just simply got loose, because that's what it looked like. I mean, you see, look at Toby Ritters. He is closing in. Okay, so Marcy gets into 3 very, very wide. He has to back up his exit. He actually hits the wall.
Marcy hit the wall.
And then off turn number 4 right here, Marcy seems to lay off, but then gets back to the gas. Oh, and the 23 just comes
Ritters.
Up. Oh, what a hit. Yeah, that's just the 35 got loose. 23 came up. No, just a racing deal between those two. Nobody's really
Wow.
at foul right there. That's just a tough break, though, because not only did we have one, we had two, I believe 3 playoff guys involved in that incident.
Yeah, tough break for Jeff Stabnow. The Band-Aid car is Tyler King. Tyler King of the Band-Aid car, Toby Ritters in the 23, and of course Jeff Stabnow with the 24. Marcy is not in the playoffs, and neither was Brett Johnson. On board with Tyler King. This should be interesting. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Nowhere to go, Jason. Nowhere to go for the 21. And look at the graphics of the hood staying on the car.
I want to see what happened to Brett Johnson coming off turn
Yeah, let's
number
go on
4,
board.
because
you just read my mind.
Yeah, he was not even a part
mind.
of this wreck. He was not even a part of this wreck coming off turn number 4. And he's riding right here. Behind that is Frank Harris. And then he'll start seeing this wreck up ahead. I want to know if maybe Frank gets on the brakes and the 7 just gets into his door right here.
No,
Throws the slider.
He already passed Frank. What is this? What is this?
Oh, he slows down and Frank never knew. He slowed down and Frank never knew.
Wow. Oh, man. Frank gave him a punt the you know what. Oh, wow.
Goodness.
I wouldn't say per se it's Frank Harris's fault. But, hey, what are you going to do? We're under the yellow flag. You want to go side by side? Let's pause for 10 seconds of network identification as well as we are approaching the top of the hour. This is the Northwest CLICKIT RV Playoffs, round 1 from Indianapolis, the world's greatest race course. We'll go side by side as well. We'll get the restart as we're about to be a quarter of the way through in this 80-lap event from Indy.
Community Radio Network, WCRN 87.9 FM, Clayton, Garner, Raleigh, North Carolina, USA. We are CRN.
At CLICKIT RV, we know there's a lot of heritage and history at this location. RV sales and service has been part of this community for decades. We knew there was an incredible opportunity here, but to see where we've come in just a year is incredible. None of it would be possible without the patronage and support from this community. So whether it be a more convenient and accessible service drive, a fully stocked parts department, or this amazing sales facility, what drives this team daily is making sure our customers leave here with the best possible experience.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to Indianapolis. Wesley Outland, Jason Rockefeller, alongside with Charles Wooten on production. Round 1 of the playoffs for the Northwest CLICKIT RV Fix Series. We're ready to come back to a restart with about 17 laps completed when they come back to the Geico restart zone. Jason, early caution, or do you think this was just on schedule as we saw mostly everybody except Hunter and Bartlett come down to the pit lane?
Yeah, definitely an early caution right there. I don't really think we're going to see much of it. Definitely a freak accident. But hey, you never know. That's just the way that racing works.
ready for the green flag. Green flag back out. Reeling them back in. Let's see how they funnel back out into turn number 1 and 2. It's Ron Hunter. Jason, Ron Hunter. That's a name that, you know, normally is in the back, but he has improved. But this is what happens when you bring used tires, a knife to a gunfight equivalent, because he has old tires and they just swallowed him up and spit him out on the back straightaway. 4 wide, look at this, 4 wide. Hunter, get out of the way. Oh, that's all he can do, Jason. Just get up on the top and let him fly.
He just kisses the safer barrier there off turn number 3. Man, oh man, that was a hectic restart for that first half lap. Heck, it's still hectic right now coming off 4, but this time Chris White still able to maintain that lead. Brett Johnson, he's coming back down into the pit. Looks like something of a miss on the 7 machine. I believe the left front looks like it could have some damage, but just from this angle, it doesn't look like it. We'll keep you updated there, or right there with that number 7 machine.
Not only is he done having a fast repair where he wrecked that car, something is amiss on the number 7 machine for Brett Johnson. One of those drivers that is in the playoffs. And Jason, that's heartbreaking, man. You look at Ritters and Johnson and Stabnow and King. 4 of the 12 drivers of 11 here wrecked with the incident that happened on the front straightaway.
Yeah, it's definitely unfortunate. I mean, you do not want that as a driver in the first race of the playoffs for Brett Johnson and Toby Ritters. They came in 12th and 11th seeded into tonight. Brett was 11th. Toby was 12th. Toby, though, he's still trying to make his way back up. But again, track position's so key. But you know what track position isn't going to mean anything to right now? It's Chris White and Paul Newton, because right now they're going for it here heading into turn number 2. And I think Paul Newton might just get this 47. They're still side by side, though, off 2.
Johnson coming back off for the pit lane. Got to wait to go to the blend line on the back stretch to reel back in on traffic. And he is now multiple laps down. Battle for the lead. Newton inside. White outside. West inside. Battles Newton. This goes on as they dive into the short chute into turn 3 and 4. And Paul Newton sails away in 27.
In the 47 of Chris White, he's starting to fade away just a little bit. DWJ gets to the bottom of him. Ryan Gormley trying to look for a way around, just nowhere yet. Doesn't want to go to the bottom and start some controversy going into 1. But they're going to keep it going. Brian Gormley finally tried to go to the inside. Not enough. Chris White will still slip back into that 3rd spot. DWJ clear of White for 2nd. And he'll try to chase down last week's winner, Paul Newton from Talladega.
Try to make that happen now. They get back single file down that back straightaway. Paul Newton at Ford out in front. Paul Newton Designs. Jason, let's be honest here. This is a driver that you would say would not do well on a road on a circle track. He normally shines on the road courses. He's got 1 win this year to go along with 1 pole, 8 top 5s and 12 top 10s for the man that we call the road course king. Oh, and by the way, his win was at Talladega back in September. Go figure. This is what put him in the playoffs.
Yeah, that is, as a road course guy, you absolutely hate super speedway racing. I think back to AJ Allmendinger at the end of one of those Xfinity Series races. He said he still hates it. He actually won that race at Talladega. He said he still hates this type of racing, but he's glad that he was finally able to get one at Talladega last year in the Xfinity Series playoffs, and that's probably how Paul Newton felt. Probably just a road course guy. He likes Talladega more than likely, like most of these guys, but you know, you just got to go in there, survive, have the right mindset, and he came through shining like a diamond in the rough, and that 27 machine is trying to cap off the first race of the round of 12 with a win tonight here at Indianapolis, which would be absolutely huge for the Paul Newton Designs number 27.
Just about over 20 laps into the first quarter. of this event, 50 miles into this race, about 60 miles to be exact right now. Let's give you a full field rundown as it stands. Paul Newton is the leader. Dan West Jr. is second. Christopher White third. Up 12 spots is Ryan Gormley in the 22 Toyota. He's in fourth. Ryan Bloom is fifth. Sean Brightsman sixth. Joshua Marcy is seventh. Seth Frazier is eighth. Tyler King is ninth. Frank Harris, Jason, is right now your top 10 in Indy.
Yeah, then you have your top 20. You have James Vining. He's up 4 spots from where he started there in that 333 machine. Kevin Smith not really going anywhere, sitting in 12th one spot from where he started. Jeff Stab now currently sitting in 13th, right where he started. Gary Nichols is 14th. Dana Rogers, 15th. You have John Ottenbacher, 16th. Ron Hunter, 17th. Chris Kynes, 18th. They're up both +7. Troy Daggett, -9 right now. He sits in the 19th position. And Tyler King currently rounds out your top 20.
Rest of the rundown, including drivers that are either multiple laps down or caught up in accidents. And that includes Stephen Bartlett. He's the last car on the lead lap. B.J. Tidrick is 1 lap down in 22nd. If the caution was to come out, he would get the free pass. Toby Ritters is a couple of laps down. It's one of the playoff contenders. Brett Johnson is multiple laps down. Carl Burke is 12 laps down. He got started in about 10 laps into the race. He retired. Scott Hutchinson, Chris Camary, unable to take the green at the start of this event. 1 caution, by the way. Let's throw that down there on the bottom left of the monitor. Virginia 811. Dig with care. Call with, there you see the summary. 1 caution, 3 caution laps, and 3 lead changes. And Jason, I'll be honest with you, it's been all Christopher White. But now in this stint, Paul Newton showing his strengths as we approach lap 25.
Yeah, but here comes Dan West Jr. He's going to the inside. He's actually going to take the race lead away from last week's winner at Talladega. DWJ trying to get his 4th win of the season, trying to get 4 for 5 here tonight. He'll take that lead. Chris White trying to figure out a way around Paul Newton as they go into 3 and 4. Just not enough. This 55 machine, he's trying to set sail and go for his 4th win of the season, which he very well could do here tonight at Indy.
So Dan West Jr. has now just got back around Paul Newton. Put DWJ back up in that top spot. You want to talk about a driver, Jason Rockefeller, that has caught fire in the playoffs at the right time. It was Dan West Jr. Number 2 seed, 3 wins, 2 poles, 6 top 5s, and 9 top 10s. Oh, and by the way, this is what I forgot to mention. Those 3 wins came consecutively. Michigan, Atlanta, New Hampshire, and he was in the hunt to win the race last Wednesday night at Talladega where Paul Newton got it. That was probably one of the craziest finishes we'll never forget.
Yeah, definitely for sure. And I think Dan West Jr. very well could get that 4th win of the season here tonight. He just has to keep on doing what he's doing. He's really fast right now. He's faster than the top 3 currently. But when you get back to Ryan Gormley, Ryan's just a little bit faster. But we're going to really separate the men from the boys once we get into a long green flag run. Nothing really of it right now, obviously. 1 car coming to pit road. That's the number 39 machine of Stephen Bartlett, debut here tonight in the Northwest CLICKIT RV Fixed Series. He comes to the pit road. Looks like he's got some damage possibly to the right front fender of the 39 machine.
Here comes the 39 Bartlett's machine on pit road, and he overshot his pit stall, Jason. That just adds more insult to injury for the driver of the 39. And here comes the cavalry zooming by. Jason, can you believe we're coming up on 100 miles? This race is flying by very quickly here at Indy.
Yeah, it's already crazy to think that we're already almost halfway through this race. But, I mean, at the same token, this is a very long race. The laps are nearly a minute long here in these B cars. You take a look at the fastest lap time set just a handful of laps ago by Chris White. 53.380. Right now, we're in the 54.9 to 55 second bracket. So almost 2 seconds worth of fall off from their best lap time. So it just goes to show you that tires are absolutely key here tonight. You think about Ron Hunter, he has not made his stop yet. Started in that first row on the restart, and he has not pitted. He has really fallen off the pace back at 17th.
We'll see how all this shakes out now as they work their way back across the line. Another lap on the board with, of course, Dan West Jr. continuing to lead the way. Jason, I got to ask you this question. How big of a bind is Devin West going to be in? This man's got 3 wins. He did what he needed to do to make enough races to make the playoffs, but then he misses the opening race. What pressure is now going to be on the 8 ball of Devin West being the number 1 seed and now probably dropping the 12th?
I think he'll be just fine, honestly, Wesley. I mean, when you head into Richmond next week, I think that's a track where he very well could win, and Homestead as well. We've seen Devin do very good on those mile-and-a-half type racetracks. I think Homestead is right in his wheelhouse. Same goes for his father, DWJ, leading this race. I want to say that he'll probably be all right once they do get to the end of the round of 12, but he just needs to be consistent, needs to have good finishes. Tonight, though, definitely. Oh, Sean Brightsman, what a save!
Whoa,
oh, my
wow.
goodness! Save of the year, Sean Brightsman off turn number 2. I saw that coming just for a split second when they went into turn 2. I saw the 27, and in my mind, while I'm talking to you, Wesley, I think to myself, the 27's going to hit this wall and bounce off. Sure enough, he did, and wow, what a job the 46 there saving it.
That deserves a replay. Hands down. Let's, Jason, I'm requesting Charles in the truck to cue it up. This is in real time, but this is the replay. And as you said, Jason, maybe save of the year. Whoa. On board. Let's go on board with the 46. What's it like on board there, Jason?
Yeah, definitely going to be a lot of wheeling and dealing here heading into turn number 2. As you see the 46, he's going through the corner. Then the 27 just gets loose, actually. I thought the 27 hit the wall. Oh. He actually just got loose from trying to stay off the wall.
That might not seem like a lot, but Jason, you know that was an amazing piece of driving right there by the number 46 of a former Cup Series champion of the Northwest, and Sean Brightsman.
Yeah, definitely.
Wow.
No doubt about it. I mean, that 46 machine probably could have been spinning towards the inside wall. There are very few guys here in this series who can save a race car like that. And I'm telling you right now, Sean Brightsman is one of those guys. What an amazing save coming off turn number 2. But it's definitely going to hurt him with a little bit of tire wear. Drop back a couple positions from where he was. But I'm sure he'll make it up.
Well, whatever the case, what a great save by that driver. And that'll be something we'll be bragging about as probably one of the highlights of the season. No doubt about it. 80-some-odd miles is where we're at right now. Over 80 miles. 86 miles to be exact. Here at the 2.5-mile Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Believe it or not, they are approaching the cross flags in round 1 of the playoffs. And right now, the top 6 are all playoff drivers. You've got 8 right now in the top 12. And a couple of playoff drivers, Jason, like Ritters and Johnson. This is not the way they wanted to open it up the season of the playoffs for them tonight in the 7 and 23.
Yeah, definitely not what they wanted at all, to say the least here, Wesley. I mean, when you're, Toby Ritters and Brett Johnson, your goal tonight was to just come in here and have solid runs, and they are doing anything but that right now, finding themselves both in the 23rd and 24th spot right now. Couple laps down, obviously. So Ritters and Johnson, they're going to need a little bit of luck on their side if they want to get back on the lead lap and obviously go after a few points.
Right now, there you see Ritters. He's in 23rd. Johnson in 24th. They're 2 and 3 laps down. Bartlett is 1 lap down, but Tidrick is the first car a lap down. If a caution was to come out, he would get the free pass. If they were able to stay in front of the leaders, they could take the wave around to try to get a couple of those laps back at least one time, Jason. But I just don't see that happening right now. They're kind of in a bind, and they've got to find their way to try to dig out of it. Not saying that they're done for, but right now it's just not in their favor for this race at Indy. As Ron Hunter comes on pit road.
Yeah, Ron Hunter finally had to come down pit road, but the thing is about him is that he's going to be able to actually kind of, make up a few seconds once he comes out of the pits and whatnot, but he just has to, keep his head on his shoulders, keep it cool. I know that restart was probably really frustrating for the driver, the number 30, dropped back so many positions. He's going to be a lap down, but I guarantee you when he eventually comes back around, he very well could be on the lead lap. Once everybody does pit, he just has to keep the tires on it.
Ron Hunter exits off pit lane. I got to wonder, Jason, if he was one of those drivers that was trying to go for that 2-pit strategy or the 1-pit strategy, as he was trying so close to take it all the way to halfway. And now he exits off pit road. Ryan Gormley, Ryan Bloom, the Ryan Show. That's 3rd and 4th. A couple of playoff drivers, Jason, working through the short chute of the racetrack.
Yeah, for sure, Wesley. And you know something? I think fuel mileage very well could be the name of the game here later on in this race. But just by the way it's projected right now, with these guys pitting after that first caution, once they do pit probably after lap 40 to 50, they're definitely going to be able, I think, to make it all the way on fuel. But you never know. We could see somebody try to just stretch it so far. I mean, Indy has been known in the past for being not only fuel mileage races, but races that are just pit road strategy dependent. I mean, you think back to the 100th running of the Indianapolis 500. Alexander Rossi runs out of gas, wins the Indianapolis 500 in the 100th running. You go back to the 2011 Brickyard 400. I mean, Paul Menard ends up going through and wins that race purely on fuel strategy over Jeff Gordon. Would not be surprised if someone tries to pull something out of the hat.
Should be exciting. Obviously, great pages of racing history, not only in NASCAR, but in the IndyCar world as well, here at the world's greatest race course at Indianapolis. Right now, approaching the final 10 miles before the cross flags of this event. And all the while, Dan West Jr. Here we go again, Jason. DWJ, rocking and rolling.
Yeah, this doesn't surprise me one bit. I mean, coming off of 3 out of the last 4 races, 3 wins, been so fast. But I tell you what here, Wesley, I think he's going to have to hold off that guy right behind him who's back by just about 0.4 of a second. Chris White fell back to about 3rd or 4th, and right now he is back in the game sitting in 2nd. I just think that Dan West Jr. is way better at getting into the corner than Chris White, but on exit, I think Chris is just a little bit better. But at the same time, every single corner on this racetrack feels different. From heading into 1 all the way to the exit of 4, you set yourself up for trying to make sure you hit all 4 of those arcs perfectly, being able to get the drive off and obviously get the entry that you want in.
Couple of more laps to the cross flags, and we got our mid-race report coming up on deck as well here in just a few moments. Also, as our LSRTV mid-race report will be coming up on lap 40. Get them ready to roll as Dan West Jr., Christopher White, Ryan Bloom, currently the top 3. Ryan Gormley, Jason, I got to say, Gormley got a good run going for him. There's Chris White. That's a guy that literally names that they've kind of had an up-and-down year. But, man, if you want to shine, you need to do it in the playoffs. And as I say that, I think Gormley just got in the wall a little bit off the safer barrier, off the short chute in turn number 3 and 4. And now he will stay straight as they work their way to the start-finish line.
Yeah, I think Sean Brightsman might have the opportunity to get to him here once they head off turn number 2. I mean, once they're going into 1, Sean Brightsman probably was thinking about going to the inside, but he knew that it just wasn't going to be enough. And that's the thing about Indianapolis, Wesley. If you're going to make a pass, you have to make sure it's going to stick and you're going to be able to clear it, because next thing you know, you're going to lose track position, or you could wreck, or you could just shred your tires. That's why you see so many of the guys in the Indianapolis 500, they will not go for passes unless they know it's going to stick. Plus driver etiquette, some guys will let you go. Here in stock car racing, you don't really do too much give and take like you would in the Indianapolis 500. So as a driver, if you're going to pass, you have to make sure that if you're Sean Brightsman, if you're going to head into the corner and you have a massive run on Ryan Gormley, you better know what to do with it and come into the straightaway.
Well, the field will be coming to the cross flags this time by, and we are closing in on 40 on the board next time around as we approach 100 miles. And look at Sean Brightsman battling with Ryan Gormley. Just a little shot there. You see Brightsman battling back. Boy, what a save he made earlier off of Paul Newton down the back stretch. Now he is currently, right now, Jason, strong car in the top 5 right now.
Yeah, I think both Sean and Ryan are very, very strong here. And even Paul Newton. I mean, I know he's dropped back 4 spots, but I still think he's probably got something in the tank. The same goes for Seth Frazier, man. And I mean, and here's the thing about Seth Frazier is Seth is yet to pit. That is very impressive for him to be running lap times close to the guys around him and still maintaining in that 7th position. Watch out for Seth Frazier once he gets on fresh tires to see if he can work his way into this top 5 as well.
Well, we welcome you back inside the broadcast booth. It's the LSRTV Mid-Race Report. I am Wesley Outland, Jason Rockefeller down below. And Jason, 1 caution flag. That's been it. This has been a very fast 100 miles. You're taking the race so far as we have another 100 miles left to go here.
Yeah, this is the stereotypical Indianapolis type race. And the thing is people come here and I'm not trying to, not necessarily toot my own horn with my thoughts, but I guarantee you people are going to think probably the same thing when it comes to the Brickyard 400 next year. This is the kind of racing you're going to see. Long, strung out, single file racing. There could be a little bit of drafting. Obviously, we don't know how that car is going to be. But with this car, obviously, you are just playing a mental game with yourself. Like I said, you want to make sure you hit all 4 corners perfectly. And obviously, you just want to make sure you are very strong here at Indianapolis. We've seen how good Chris White is. We've seen how good DWJ is, Ryan Bloom, etc. If you want to win here tonight, you're going to have to be on the binders. Make sure you get into those corners good. And when we do see green flag pit stops here momentarily, you're going to have to make sure you enter and exit well.
James Vining, a matter of fact, just coming down the pit lane, the 333 to the attention of his crew. Jason, I got to ask you this question, and then we'll go right back to on-track activity. Dan West Jr., is this the year for the 55 to lock up another championship in the Northwest Series? A 2-time Truck Series champion. He did it back-to-back. He's always in the hunt for the truck title. He's in the playoffs this year. Never won a cup title for the Northwest, but this Xfinity B Series is in his favor. It looks like he's really setting the competition world on him to be the guy you got to put the bullseye on for the run to the championship. He wins this race. He moves into the round of 8. He don't have to worry about the next 3 weeks.
Yeah, I think more than likely it's going to look like he gets to the round of 4 unless something happens. But let's not forget his son, Devin. Obviously, he's got to come back the next 2 races, be strong as ever, have good races, try to get into the round of 8. And also Sean Brightsman. Think about that guy was pretty much dominated the first half of the season before that summer break. And then once we came back, Sean's been right there, but he just hasn't been a guy we're talking about as much. It's been all DWJ. It's just crazy to think what a couple months of off-track activity can do for somebody. And for Dan West Jr., he probably more than likely perfected his craft, ran a lot of races, and talked to the right people. I think he's going to be the one to beat here in these playoffs. But don't forget about Sean Brightsman, and definitely don't forget about his son Devin, who probably could show that the young guys can do it and beat the old guys.
Well, there's some analysis along the way, and that has been your LSRTV Mid-Race Report as we go back to on-track activity here at the world's greatest race course at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Dan West Jr., Christopher White, Ryan Bloom, Sean Brightsman, Ryan Gormley, top 5. That's the way it all stands. And we got a green flag pit stops, I think, coming in about the next less than 10 laps, Jason, too.
Yeah, more than likely. I mean, looking right now, when these guys last pitted, it was around lap 15. So, I mean, you're probably looking at around lap 55 to lap 60 is when these guys are definitely going to start coming into the pits. I mean, heck, I wouldn't be surprised if you see some guys try to shortcut, because when you look at it, 53.380, Chris White's best lap time, the fastest lap of the race. Currently, last time around, 55.959. We are almost 3 seconds worth of fall off. You could just see that taking the undercut, if you're a driver like Tyler King, Seth Frazier, who needs to pit soon because he is yet to pit, if you're Paul Newton, Josh Marcy, Frank Harris, Jeff Stabnow, try that undercut. What more do you have to lose? It's a long, strung-out race. If I were them, I would definitely be trying the undercut here within these next 3 to 5 laps and probably trying to get the jump on the competition, because track position means everything, tires mean everything, and a few valuable seconds could get you a long way in these playoffs.
Jason, obviously you just mentioned the number 2, Seth Frazier. He is in 8th position right now. There you see him on the racetrack. I mean, he's being consistent. He's staying in the top 10. He hasn't pitted yet. Could he be on that strategy of making that one pit stop to go to the finish? He's already approached over 110, 15, 20 miles.
Yeah, well, I mean, these guys typically could have went on one stop, obviously, but, you know, I mean, he's going to try the one stopper. I think that he stayed out to try to see if he could make track position up, which, in fact, he did at the time. He obviously, minus 1 spot from where he started. So it's not really been a huge gain, but he's maintained, and it has shown compared to Ron Turner, who has had to pit since that time, and now he finds himself in 18th, 1 lap down. I think Seth Frazier is looking good. I think he's a guy that should probably take this undercut here, considering how good he's been on the older tires.
Yeah, put him in the booth right now and put him in that opportunity for sure to try to make something happen, no doubt. As right now, 7 of the top 10 playoff drivers, 11 of the top 12 playoff drivers. By the way, Jason, don't count out Jeff Stabnow, lying in the weeds right there in 11th spot, as we still see Newton and Gormley. But there was Jeff Stabnow right there, just kind of staying out of trouble, if you will.
Yeah, and Jeff's kind of had a quiet night. He's up 2 spots from where he started. I think this could probably be a top 10 run for him if he makes the call to come to pit road at the right time. We're still yet to see anybody come down pit road who is a main contender in this top 10. I'm waiting for it. I'm waiting to see the undercut. I think once you start seeing the undercut, which we're starting to see now, perfect. I knew it. I called it.
Here they come.
Seth Frazier, perfect time to come in. The same for Kevin Smith. Kevin saw the opportunity at what Seth was doing. I think that's exactly why Kevin came in. Seth Frazier, heads up driving. He gets the nod from me here tonight, pitting with the undercut.
Here comes others. Others peeling in. Look at this. Oh, we got contact. Tindrick just got crashed into the pit entrance. Was that Bartlett in 39 that wrecked him, it looked like?
Gary Nichols.
Nichols, the 8 car. Gary, oh no. Can we see a replay of this, Charles, in the truck? What in the world? Nichols and Tindrick. I don't know if it was intentional, Jason. What do you think?
No, it definitely wasn't. The 8 was trying to come to pit road. The 72 had a much better entry speed coming into the pits right here. And then the 8 just comes right down in front of him. Look at Tindrick. He is hot coming into the pits. Gary Nichols just locks it up, and unfortunately the 72 thinks he's going to hit him. So the 72 just locks it up and ultimately hits the wall.
And I'll be honest with you, Jason, as we go back to on-track activity now with the leaders on pit road, this also might have been a saving grace for Tindrick, because he could have got busted for a speeding penalty entering pit road.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, that could have been huge right there for those guys. They don't want to have that happen, but, unfortunately, that's part of it. I think they'll be okay, though, but this is the race for the lead. Dan West Jr., he gets off the pit road great, and he saw Seth Frazier take the undercut, said, nah, buddy, not today. I'm going to do an undercut a couple laps later than you. He's in, he comes out, and I think he's probably going to remain the race leader.
Harris spinning on pit road. Frank Harris losing valuable time. Here comes Newton. Here comes Brightsman. Gormley now the new leader. Tyler King back on pit road, Jason, as pit stops continue with 30 to go next time by here at Indianapolis.
Yeah, this is obviously the money stop. You want to make sure that you are in and out of your box and having a clean exit off of pit road. You see Sean Brightsman, he's going to come in and take 4 fresh Goodyear Eagles and some Sunoco Racing fuel. The same for Paul Newton, Tyler King as well. There's one driver heading out. I believe that's Tyler Kim coming off pit road. And it looks like Sean Brightsman's going to be away. He'll come out of his box. Same thing with Tyler King, Paul Newton. They're all off pit road as they head turn 1.
Gormley the leader now. Gormley peeling onto pit lane. Here comes the 22. And all the while, Dan West Jr. has already pitted, Jason, and he will quickly cycle back around to the P1 spot of the 55 when they cross the scoring pylon.
Yeah, great run for Ryan Gormley tonight. Unfortunately, he's going to have to come to the pit road now. He probably wishes he could stay out all the meanwhile to, he overshoots his box just a little bit. He's going to have to put it in reverse. That could be costly on his end there heading into pit road, but a nice recovery for him. Only able to get back a little bit. He's going to put some Goodyear Eagles on. He'll lose the lead there to Dan West Jr., though, and guess what? Because of Dan West Jr. Coming in earlier than expected, Seth Frazier was not able to leapfrog the field. He's going to get 1 position out of it, and Dan West Jr., he is pulled out now to a 2.5 lead over Chris White as the green flag cycle seems to have come to an end.
How about Ryan Gormley, though, back on track now, even after that mistake on the pit lane. And he will fall back only into the top 10 and 9th. To my understanding, Jeff Stabnow just rocketed the fastest lap of the LSRTV 4K Ford, 53.379 seconds. He is the fastest car on the 2.5-mile speedway.
Yeah, great job by Jeff Stabnow to try to make something out of those 4 fresh Goodyear Eagles, and now still finds himself in that 12th position. Not a top 10 run just yet, but he's just kind of mired back there outside the top 10. You see Toby Ritters, he's coming back down pit road this time by a guy who is multiple laps down. This is not what he needed for the kickstart of his playoff run. The same for Brett Johnson. And look at this little gaggle of cars here off turn number 1 heading to 2. That's Kevin Smith, Paul Newton. They're passing the Catman coming off turn number 2.
West, White, Bloom, Brightsman, Frazier, top 5. And Vining right now is all the way in a good spot. He's in 8th. Pretty good run for the Catman, Jason.
Yeah, pretty good run for him to say the least, actually. You know, he's doing a great job as well. He also pitted a little bit earlier than those guys did around the lap 47 to 50 mark. He last pitted at lap 41, so he tried the undercut, the same with Seth Frazier, but Seth was not really able to use that undercut to his advantage. Only gained 1 spot. He pitted 1 to 2 laps prior. Everybody saw that. They took advantage of it as well, but James Vining looks like he's starting to kind of fall back just a little bit from pitting early on.
Dan West Jr., Christopher White, Ryan Bloom, Sean Brightsman, Seth Frazier, top 5. Newton, who led earlier in the race, back to 6th. Kevin Smith, 7th. Vining, 8th. Marcy, 9th. King, top 10. This is the battle. Marcy, King going at it there. And Gormley on the outside looking in. Jason as they go to the short shoot to 3.
Gormley overshot the corner into 3 and 4 just a little bit, but he'll get off the corner a little bit better than Joshua Marcy. He'll set up the pass, go to the outside, down this front straight. We talked about if you had a run, you better get ready to use it. Heading for 1 and 2. They're going to remain side by side. Heading into 1 and 2. Marcy slips up the racetrack a little bit. Gormley, though, looks like he could get the better end of it. He's going to clear Josh Marcy as James Vining brushes the wall entering turn 2.
Vining up the hill, down the back straightaway. Still staying in that outside the top 10 now. Marcy trying to run down Gormley. Gormley now trying to run down King. All single file as we are approaching 25 laps to go. And still over 60 miles left to go in this race, Jason. That's how fast this race has flew by.
Yeah, it has flown by, but like I talked about earlier on there, Wesley, this race still has a long time to go. Anything can happen. Somebody could lose it. We could go into a series of cautions. You just don't know. Look at Tyler King. He gets loose there off turn number 2, right off the front bumper of Ryan Gormley exiting 1. Now for 2, Gormley will head down to the inside. He gets a little bit loose exiting 2. He'll fall back in behind the 21 down the back.
Haven't done this in a while? Let's feel the roar extended at Indy with these great camera angles. Just below the start-finish line here at the Brickyard. As they cross the yard of bricks at the start-finish line, back to the short chute. Jason, they are flying around Indy, my friend. We're approaching only less than 56 miles remaining in this race.
Yeah, we're approaching 20 laps to go pretty quickly. And I tell you what right now, if I were Dan West Jr., I'd be a little bit worried if I were him, because Chris White is starting to gain just little by little. Last time around, he was faster than Dan by about a little bit more than a tenth. And now that he has passed Toby Ritters, he can really set his sights here on DWJ. He gains another tenth or two on the exit of turn number 3 in the short suit and going for 4. Heck, he might just get below 1 second here, or 1 second in here in this next lap.
If we don't see a caution, suffice to say it is Dan West Jr. and Christopher White to battle it out. Jason, though, Christopher White losing ground, though, on the leader. He tries to get to him, but then it looks like Dan West Jr. just picks up the afterburners and pulls away.
Yeah, right now, I mean, he's gained like 0.3 within this last lap, though. Chris White is only back by 1.1 seconds, and it could get below 1 second here in just a handful of moments, because that 47 machine, we know, you said it, Wes, at the beginning of the broadcast when we were given the official starting grid, he is good at Indianapolis, and Chris White is good here tonight. He has led some laps. He has been consistently in this top 5, and when he's fallen out of that top 3, he has been able to maintain and somehow kind of have a resurgence.
Dan West Jr. Let's give the full field rundown with 20 to go. Next time by here at the world's greatest race course, race number 1 of the playoffs for the 2023 Northwest CLICKIT RV Fixed Setup Series. Dan West Jr. leads, Christopher White second, Ryan Bloom third, Sean Brightsman fourth, Paul Newton the top 5. Okay, Frazier sixth. What strategy he had? Then you got Kevin Smith. They both went for the undercut. They're 6th and 7th. Tyler King is 8th. Brian Gormley 9th. Marcy, Joshua Marcy, Jason, your top 10.
Yeah, then you go back to 11th all the way back to 20th. You have Jeff Stab now there in 11th. He's up one more spot from when we last talked about him. The legend Frank Harris. Another solid run for Frank here tonight. Good job, Frank. He's sitting there in P12. Troy Daggett, 13th. Gary Nichols in the 14th spot. John Ottenbacher, 15th. Chris Kynes coming in the 16th position right now. Tyler Kim, 17th. BJ Tidrick, 18th. Dana Rogers, 19th. And the rookie Steve Bartlett, he's in P20 right now.
Other drivers, a lap down or more, including Ron Hunter. Toby Ritters. Vining is on pit road again. Johnson, multiple laps down. Carl Burke out of the race of the 25 drivers that took the official green flag. Other drivers that did not start include Scott Hutchinson and Chris Camary. There has been one yellow flag. Real quickly, let's take a look at the race summary presented by Virginia811.com, reminding you, call before you dig, Virginia811.com, and dig with care. 1 caution, 7 lead changes, and only 3 caution laps. And Jason, that's all it's been. That's all it's been. We said that Indianapolis could be a plethora of yellow flag calamity, or it could be a long green flag run, and we're seeing that here right now with another 20 to go.
Yeah, now with under 20 laps to go, these guys just got to really put their heads above their shoulders, get ready, strap in, because you have 19 more laps, basically almost 19 minutes worth of racing here at Indianapolis. And I mean, it's going to be tough. Your arms are going to be sore. Your mental game is just not going to be there. You've been doing this now for almost 200 miles. I know when I ran here, man, like I said, I was sweating in my sim seat. I could not. I was like, man, so this is what it feels like to get back into the cockpit, because I had not raced in a few months, and I just went, I'm going to do this race for a one-off instead of broadcasting. I did a couple days of practice, got back in it, ran 200 miles, and I was like, boy, this is a lot harder than I remember, or I'm just really, really rusty. And I mean, man, it really wore you out. 200 miles in Indianapolis will wear you out a ton, as Ryan Gormley looked like he was going to get into turn 1 a little hot. Almost got into Tyler King, and the 22 and 21 stays side by side on the exit of 2. These guys have had some great battling all night between the two of them.
Yeah, they've had some history for sure. 21 and 22 on the track. King and Gormley right there for 8th and 9th on the speedway. Trying to get a solid top 10. And Jason, that's the thing. Obviously, if you're a guy like Dan West Jr., it looks like he's going to be the guy to win it. I already said it. This guy has just been phenomenal down the stretch in the regular season. Before the playoffs started, he was in the hunt to win the race at Talladega before the big one happened. And then, of course, the surprising win by Paul Newton. You literally look at Dan West Jr. He is the man that is the hot wild card, or the man that's carrying the momentum in the Northwest CLICKIT RV Fix Series. If there's anybody you want to go to Vegas and place your bets on right now, it's going to be the 55.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, I would like to take you up on that one, except I wouldn't pick the 55. I'm going to pick this 47 of Chris White. I just think that he's been really strong. He knows how to back up his entries, but he knows how to get the run off. By the way, last time around, he has now gained 2 more tenths on this 55. He's going to have a little bit of a draft week. Toby Ritter's doing a great job being 1 lap down, just sitting right back behind him, not causing any kind of issue with the 2 leaders. And Chris White, oh, by the way, just gained another 10th going down that front straightaway. So Chris White could be the favorite here as we approach 15 laps to go. He's almost down to 0.7 of a second, has a great surge of momentum going through turn 2, nearly picks up a 1/10.5 off turn number 2.
We'll watch it and see how it all shakes down for him, no doubt, is right now. He works his way down the back straightaway. Dan West Jr., Chris White, Ryan Bloom, 1, 2, and 3. Sean Brightsman, Paul Newton, top 5. Chris White, little loose there. Boy, did you see that wiggle there, Jason? I know it wasn't a lot, but that little wiggle could hurt momentum on the 47 to get to the 55. 15 to go at Indy.
15 to go at Indy indeed, and then things are heating up here as they come to the line. This time, Chris White only back by 0.6 of a second, has a great entry to 1 and 2. Dan West Jr. could not get to the bottom like Christopher White did, and as they reach into turn 2, Chris White again back into the corner. Dan West Jr. a little bit loose off 2. He loses about 1/10.5, could be 2-3 tenths once they hit 3.
Yeah, the short shoot a moment ago to 3 and 4. White slipped the short shoot into 1 and 2 to the back straightaway. Dan West Jr. slips. He slips again as they work into the bottom of the front tires on the double white line, and he goes up the racetrack now. Dan West Jr. better not be looking out that rear view mirror. Christopher White is coming in a hurry at 15 to go, now 14 at the line.
Down this front straightaway, Chris White is just trying to run down Dan West Jr. the best that he can. Wants no mistakes, keeps trying to do exactly what he's done these last few laps, get right down to that white rumble strip, and he has done just that. And actually, he might get to Dan West Jr. on the exit of 2, somewhere where Dan West has not been strong all race long. And as they work their way off 2, it looks like DWJ got just enough momentum. He's going to have a lap car in front of him. This could play dividends for the 55 to keep the 47 back behind him.
Try to make it work. Dan West Jr. on the inside. Christopher White now. Bartlett lap car outside. Ritters give way. 14 to go.
As they work off 4, you see Chris White still trying. It looks like he's kind of faded a little bit now. 0.3 of a second lost about for the last half a lap, and as he works into 1 and 2 is probably because of the lap traffic. Now he can set his sights back on Dan West Jr. Gains a 10th there through 1 and 2, and as they head into turn number 2 now with 13 to go, Chris White, it looks like he's starting to fade a little bit, but still maintaining. Maybe DWJ Wesley was able to pick up on what Chris White was doing, maybe back up the entry a little bit more. We'll see who comes out on top here in 12.5 laps.
We'll see what happens right now. Dan West Jr., Christopher White, Ryan Bloom, Sean Brightsman, Kevin Smith, top 5. Jason, that's a driver in Kevin Smith that, as you, by the way, check out the aerial coverage of tonight's race, brought to you by LiveSimRacing.com, your home for sim racing. Got a lot of new bells and whistles and gadgets and graphics being worked on. Jason, that's a driver in Kevin Smith that, man, heartbreaking he didn't make the playoffs. Every valiant effort he could make to try to do it just simply ran out of time.
Yeah, I mean, from connection issues to heartbreak to his own issues, it just wasn't enough this season for Kevin Smith to make the playoff. Here he finds himself running in 5th, having a great run tonight, +6 from where he started. It's just not enough, and unfortunately, we talk about how many races he probably could have contended for the win, but due to the mishaps with him, he just hasn't been able to find victory lane yet. Hopefully he will before season's end, though.
But that's not all lost, because if you look at what he's doing in the Northwest Truck Series, I think everybody better take warning, because I think he's on a clinic to prove why he should have been in both championship playoff runs to all those drivers benoist in the Northwest Truck Program. Take warning for sure. Closing in, 10 laps to go. The final 20 miles of this race. As the time is running out here, 25 miles left of the race. Correction, 25 miles remaining. Jason, obviously, this has been highly entertaining. We've had that long green flag run. We had that caution where it kind of changed things. We had the green flag run and pit strategy. And obviously, do you think the best cars are up in the front right now?
Absolutely, no doubt about it. I mean, you look at the top 3 right now, they have been really the only race leaders here tonight besides green flag pit stops. I just think that Dan West Jr. has his work cut out for him. He's doing a really good job. Chris White, he very well could still win this race. He's not out of it yet. There's 10 laps to go. That's a little under 25 miles to go. I think he very well could get there. He's gained about a tenth and a half here the last lap. He might still get there. And as for Ryan Bloom, great way for him to just come in here tonight. Obviously, doing a great job there. He came into tonight ninth in the playoff standings. This is a run that he very well needed. Definitely agree with you, Wesley, that the top three and just the guys who are up at the front, they are the fastest ones.
10 laps to go. We'll pause real quickly for 10 seconds of network identification. The playoffs of the Northwest CLICKIT RV Fix Series on CRN, the Community Radio Network, the checkered flag around the corner at Indy.
Community Radio Network, WCRN 87.9 FM, Clayton, Garner, Raleigh, North Carolina, USA. We are CRN.
Welcome back. Under 10 laps to go at the world's greatest race course on 16th and Georgetown in virtual Indianapolis and Speedway, Indiana. I'm Wesley Outland, Jason Rockefeller alongside Charles Wooten in the box. On production, we welcome you to round one of the home stretch of the playoff for the Northwest CLICKIT RV Fixed Setup Series. And Jason, Dan West Jr., Christopher White, just behind by about 3/4 of a second. Is he playing a game of cat and mouse? Is he running out of time? And is Ryan Bloom lurking to make an upset spoil to make it a 3-car battle?
Nah, Ryan Bloom is just way too far back to set up any kind of 3-car battle for sure. But Chris White, with 8 laps to go, I mean, I just don't know if he's going to get there. I mean, he's been flirting with where he's at right now, and he's gaining and then he's losing, he's gaining and then he's losing. I think Dan West Jr. is just kind of trying to set a pace for himself, trying to make Chris White run his heart out right now. But with 7.5 laps to go, like I talked about, it is both of these guys' races. And I mean, Dan West Jr. may have the upper hand. Chris White's got a fast car, but they say in racing, Wesley, you and I both know here in the business, it's one thing to get to somebody, it's another thing to pass them.
Dan West Jr. still leading the way. There's Christopher White. He is right there within a gnat's breath, as one of my CRN colleagues likes to use in the broadcast booth sometimes. A gnat's breath of just catching the 55. But it's one thing to catch him. It's another thing to get around him, Jason. And I just think if you want to talk about momentum, Dan West Jr. ain't going to give this lead up easily to anybody. He will fight and claw to try to be that man at P1 as we close in on closing in on 6 laps to go next time by of this race.
Yeah, absolutely not. I mean, you want to come into the playoffs with a head of steam like he did. 3 out of the last 4 races he's won. The first 3 back, 3 in a row. 3 in a row for Dan West Jr. these first 4 races. And, I mean, it's just been such a fast time here for him. I think he's definitely the favorite into these playoffs. I expect Dan West Jr. to probably give his all here for this win because Chris White's starting to close in little by little. 6 laps to go. This time it's under half a second.
6 laps at the line at the Yard of Bricks. 15 miles remain as they cross the pagoda back into turn number 1. Through the 1 turn into the short chute. The short chute here at the world's greatest race course in Indianapolis. Dan West Jr. got the lead. Christopher White is lurking, trying to get quicker, trying to get faster. Still a quarterback as they work the back straightaway.
Back straightaway into turn number 3 now as they work into 3 finally. It's under 0.4 of a second. Lap car could be a factor in the way here as they reach 3 and 4, and Chris White a little bit loose on the exit of turn 3. They head down the short chute into 4. This is a place where Chris White's been so strong, gets down right to that rumble strip, doesn't get the run off, but he's got that draft weight which could play dividend for him. 5 laps to go at the line this time.
Dan West Jr. still in front when they pass the Yard of Bricks. They're back off into corner number 1. Chris White now puts half the car into the white line, tries to use that advantage to climb the wall up to the safer barrier on the short chute. Dan West Jr. still hugging the white line. Nobody changing his line just yet as he almost gets into the wall on the back straightaway.
Down the back straightaway they go. Dan West Jr. still trying to hold them at bay. 0.3 of a second as they work into 3 and 4. This is looking like a classic Brickyard 400 battle between the two best cars. You think back to Tony Stewart versus Kevin Harvick in the early 2000s. That's the vibes I'm getting right now. And as they come to 4 laps to go, Chris White could be Tony Stewart. Dan West Jr. could be Kevin Harvick. And we all know who won on that very day. And here comes Chris White. He is almost to the bumper of Dan West in a 1.
10 miles remaining, and now Chris White. He's there, looking inside on Dan West Jr. Lap car is a pick of Nichols on the outside. He drops to the bottom of the apron, says, "Have at it, boys." White looking for the lead on West as they go into turn number 3.
Lap car on the bottom could be a factor. No, it's not. Here comes Chris White. He's going to try to throw it in there. Not going to be enough. He's going to lose a couple seconds here to him at least. And it's back now to 0.2 seconds, 2/10, almost 3 as they work into 4. Coming to 3 laps to go. But White gets a heck of an exit off 4. He could be all over the back bumper of Dan West as they work into 1.
7.5 miles remain, 3 laps remaining as they work back off into turn number 1. Here comes now the opportunity. It is Christopher White. He'll peel down to the bottom. White will follow. West will stay right there and follow the same movement he's done, except maybe driving a little higher line to the white line. Below the white line as he did earlier. Just about hit that safer barrier a lap ago, Jason. And now this battle of cat and mouse with clean air. No lap cars in the way as they go into turn 3.
As they go into 3, Chris White tries to go for a peek down to the inside. Not enough just yet, but Dan West Jr. looks to be a little bit wider than White as they head down the short chute into 3 and 4. Now into 4. Dan West Jr., he's off that white line just a little bit more than White. And as they work off turn number 4, Chris White all over the back bumper of Dan West Jr. This could be the move for the win here as they work into 1.
2 laps to go as they fly past the yard of bricks and the pagoda down into turn number 1. White makes his move to the outside. He'll peel back to the bottom. He goes below the white line, trying to somehow get in the mind psyche of the 55. He will not be deterred as they work the short chute, heading to the back straightaway with 2 to go.
Off turn number 2, Dan West Jr. does everything he needs to do, putting Chris White back in another position where he needs to run him down. A lap and a half to go, and Chris White back by 0.34 seconds as they work into 3 and 4. Chris White trying to run down DWJ as they work into 4.
Ready to come off that short chute into turn number 3, working off of turn 4. They're looking at the pagoda of the yard of bricks, and they're going to be at full speed. 2 lap cars up in the way. I don't think that will be a factor. The white flag goes in the air. 1 more lap to go in Indy. Dan West Jr., Christopher White, couple of playoff drivers to win round 1 for the final time in 1.
Chris White got a really good entry into 1, but he gets a little bit tight on exit and heading into 2 this time. It could be what sets up who could have the race win. And as they work off 2, Chris White, he was able to get a little bit better momentum, but as they work down the back straightaway for the final time, it looks like it could all be Dan West Jr. for the final time in 3.
Dan West Jr. through the short chute into 3, working here out of turn number 4. Christopher White tries to throw it in there 1 more time to the bottom. He cannot get there. 1 more hard charge off the 4th turn. He dives hard to the inside. Can't run him down. Dan West Jr., number 2 seed, now number 1. 4th win of the year. He'll advance to the round of 8 in the playoffs. He wins in Indy. Dan West Jr. holds off Chris White in one of the most exciting 2-car tandem battles, Jason, we've seen in a long time at the world's greatest race course.
That was such an incredible battle. I really thought Chris White was going to have something for him, but Dan West Jr. played the mind game just right. Chris White, I thought he was going to have the advantage, just couldn't get it done. What a class act by these two here tonight. One heck of a finish.
You see the mad respect now as Chris White running down Dan West Jr. on the cool down lap. Boy, oh boy. You know, Jason, Chris could have turned him. He could have ran him down, gave him the bump and run. He ran him clean. I think he had a shot at him. I think he used up that car when he made that move. And I think that just, and honestly, I'll say this too. I think Dan West Jr. was also playing possum, not unveiling how much strength he had left in his car as well.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. I mean, what a hell of a job, though, by Dan West Jr. to be able to hold on from Chris White. Like I said, I cannot believe he was able to do it. But what a job by Chris White, though, because coming off turn 4, he gave it his all. You see, oh my goodness, now that's a race-winning car that's going to be going in the junkyard, and oh my goodness, I think Dan West Jr. might be dead. Oh my, I can't even get the point out. This is terrible. John Ottenbacher's on his lid barrel rolling. Oh, Gary Nichols is over. They're piling it up here into one.
I absolutely love the new damage model on these cars. This is the equivalent of a, wow. Yeah, anybody else, any other takers? I think Dan West Jr.'s already left. Oh, here comes somebody down the front stretch. Oh, there's one for the taking coming dead at you. Oh, here you go, Troy Daggett. What? Oh, I give that a 3. All right, here's your results. Round 1 of the playoffs, Dan West Jr. will pick up the win. Christopher White 2nd, Ryan Bloom 3rd, Sean Brightsman 4th, Kevin Smith is 5th, Paul Newton 6th, Ryan Gormley 7th, Seth Frazier is 8th. Good strategy for him, by the way, for the undercut. So did Kevin Smith. Joshua Morrissey is 9th, and Jeff Stabnow, Jason, to come back from his problems earlier in the race. Again, consistent. Another top 10 for the 24.
Yeah, then you have your top 20 of last year's truck champion, Tyler King. Very solid performance there. P11, Frank Harris there sitting in 12th. You have 13th is Troy Daggett, 14th, Gary Nichols, 15th, John Onbacher, the man we just saw going end over end, side over side in turn 1 in the green and black car. Tyler Kim, 16th, BJ Tidrick, 17th after hitting the pit road wall early on. Chris Kynes, 18th, Ron Hunter's strategy just didn't work out for him, 19th, and Stephen Bartlett in his debut in the Northwest CLICKIT RV Fixed Series. He'll come home P20 tonight.
Yeah, a couple of laps down for his debut. Dana Rogers, multiple laps down along with Toby Ritters. They got involved in that accident on the get-go there for the 1 yellow flag along with Brett Johnson. And after that, things kind of fell by the wayside. They at least somehow consistently, multiple laps down, had a top 25 finish. James Vining, 23 laps down. Carl Burke was 25th, 70 laps down. Chris Kamari and Scott Hutchinson attempted to make the race but did not take the green flag. Real quickly, let's take a look at the Virginia811.com Dig with Care caution information race summary here in Indianapolis. 1 caution, 3 caution laps, 7 lead changes. And Jason, I got a feeling when we had about 20 laps to go, we said that same thing. Didn't really change that much. And of course, that's the way it ends with the Virginia811.com Dig with Care here tonight at Virtual Indianapolis. Coming up, it is the Press Box Motorsports Podcast post-race wrap-up. Say that 3 times fast. We are going to grab the podium, the top 3. Dan West Jr., the bullseye, as I mentioned, coming on the air. The number 2 seed gets it done. By the way, you could actually say number 1, Jason, because Devin, his son, and Dan West Jr. were both tied for the points championship in P1 moving into this playoff race. Devin West not here tonight. He's going to fall back, obviously, but Dan West Jr. is going to roll on to the next round of 8 as we'll get ready next week for Richmond. Don't go anywhere. We'll grab the podium next here on LSRTV. All right, welcome back, everybody. The playoffs, round one tonight, the Northwest CLICKIT RV Fixed Setup Series from the virtual Indianapolis Motor Speedway and the world's greatest race course. Wesley Outland, Jason Rockefeller alongside. Phenomenal production work as always by Charles Wooten. And let's grab the podium. It's time for the Press Box Motorsports Podcast post-race wrap-up show. Say that 3 times fast. Dan West Jr. We'll talk to him in Victory Lane in just a moment. Win number 4 of the year. He is a playoff driver. He will now be the number 1 seed, and he will advance. He will advance to the round of 8 playoffs in 2 weeks. Whatever happens at Richmond or Homestead doesn't matter for DWJ. Jason, of course, and I will grab 3rd place now. Ryan Bloom. Ryan, a pretty good run for you. You'll finish 4th in the standings at the end of the opening playoff run, 3rd on the track. You're taking this race tonight, bud.
Yeah, I'm just happy to actually bring home a decent finish. Seems like just had a lot of issues lately in these races since we came back from the break, and so just happy to kind of be an uneventful race and just get a solid finish to start off the first race of the playoffs. So that's all I was kind of looking for. Dan and Chris are so good here. I don't know if I would have had anything for him, but I lost some spots on that first pit stop, overshot my box, and kind of put me back a little bit behind those guys, and just never able really to kind of catch up. And I was happy to put myself in position for 3rd on the following round of pit stops. And then kind of at that point, I was just kind of trying to points race there a little bit and hold off Sean for 3rd, and I knew he was coming, so I just tried to save my stuff a little bit and try to hold him off there at the end. But overall, a fun race, and just happy to get a solid finish.
And Ryan, obviously, congratulations on running 3rd, man. You talk about how ever since the break, you just really haven't been having the finishes you talk about. But tonight you had a good finish, finishing P3. How are your odds going into Richmond and Homestead for these next 2 races in the playoffs? How you feel going in there?
Yeah, I feel good about those tracks. Those are, I think, 2 of my better tracks because I got a win there in the trucks earlier. Indianapolis, just not one of my better tracks. It's definitely a tougher track. Very precise. Got to hit your marks. But so that makes it a little tougher. But yeah, I really like Richmond Homestead. I think finishing 2nd or 3rd there in truck race last week at Homestead. So yeah, I'm optimistic about the next 2 races coming up, and hopefully get me to the next round.
You're not in a bad spot, Ryan. Obviously, you're in the number 4 seed. A consistent finish, obviously. Segue this into thanking your sponsors in closing, but obviously this is the key to put yourself in the opportunity. If you can't win, just have consistent finishes to try to climb the points, right?
Yeah, for sure. I knew I couldn't come out here and do what I was been doing the last few races. Just gotta, quit making mistakes. I'm not all of it. Some is just bad luck. Getting caught up in wrecks. Running up front, and then my pedals go out on me at Atlanta, so that wasn't good. Felt I had a good chance there, but yeah, consistent finishes. I'm really gunning for that win, though. I feel like I've probably been close a few times this year, just haven't been able to close the deal. So still shooting for that win, just to solidify my spot. But can't do it that way. Definitely consistency will pay off. So
yeah, after 16 races, as Ryan Bloom mentioned, no wins. Come close, 5 poles, 5 top 5s and 8 top 10s. But man, don't give up. You're only now tied. Well, you're tied with Sean Bridesman for 3rd.
Yeah, I'll take that for sure. After the first race, someone's gonna, there's gonna be guys pointing their way in, so not everyone's gonna get a win. So consistency will definitely pay off. I'll go ahead and thank my sponsors, CLICKIT RV. Just want to thank them again for sponsoring the series and flying them on my car this season. And you guys, LSRTV, appreciate all the hard work you do putting in the broadcasts. And just want to thank Jeff and Sean for the work they do and all the admins putting this on. A lot of fun, and looking forward to the next couple races.
Now, when it's all said and done, again, Ryan Bloom will end off in the number 4 seed, tied with Sean Bridesman for 3rd in the playoffs going into Richmond. That is Ryan Bloom in the 3rd place tonight here at Indy. Let's go to Christopher White. Christopher, so you made the truck playoffs on Monday, but then the work schedule changed everything for you that you had to bow out of the run for the championship and that. obviously, I have to say you're probably on a clinic to try to win this Northwest CLICKIT RV Fixed Setup Series championship. And by the way, don't overreach. You're also a former Cup Series champion of the Northwest. Your take of round number 1 in Indy tonight.
Yeah, I'm just thankful I can sit here and breathe for a second, because that was some tough racing there with Dan, neck and neck there. I was pushing very hard. You all know Indy's a good track for me. I really like coming to Indy. Fantastic place to come here and start the playoffs. Felt I could come in here and certainly put a good run together as long as we kept the fenders on it, which we did. Was able to stay up front. Surprisingly, got the pole, which was probably the best place to start. So I wasn't really worried too much about qualifying as long as I was up towards the front, but I knew I'd have a good car in the race, and it showed.
And Chris, congratulations on finishing second, man. I knew you wanted first, but hey, next week we go to the track where, for my first time calling a race over here on LSRTV, you went and won the Truck Series and lapped pretty much almost the entire field. Just to let you know. And how do you feel about going into Richmond next week, knowing that you've had success there in the past?
Yeah, first of all, it's still kind of I don't know how to say it. I don't know how to describe it, but to work so hard in the Truck Series and get it as far as I did, and then my schedule changes and shakes it up and kind of takes me out of it. It's disheartening a little bit, but I'm still pushing hard here in the Xfinity Series, and we're not gonna. I can focus more on this car now and not have to worry about the trucks, I guess you could say, and put more effort into this, and we just want to have good, solid runs, and just being a single car team, and I kind of feel like one of those low tier teams in NASCAR, just trying to fight for everything I can get. These wins are certainly, or I should say, wins are certainly hard to get against these guys. It's a tough league. They're hard to beat, and when these wins come, you just gotta appreciate it. And these tracks coming up, Richmond, as long as we can keep the fenders on, I think Richmond will be good. I don't necessarily like Homestead. Homestead's probably not the best track in this round, but I'm hoping to get through with this finish, and hopefully a good finish at Richmond. I think we should be able to push forward to the next round.
And I guess, Christopher, to sum it up as well, if you can't look for a W, you at least are in the consistency of the points. You're number 2 right now.
Well, it's good because, Dan wouldn't let me get the win here. So, no, it was a good run. Dan held me off there. I could tell he was getting a little loose off the corners a little bit, and I thought I could, with as hard as I was pushing, it was making myself a little loose, and I was like thinking, well, I'm going to push as hard as I can, but I just don't want to wreck it. Second is better than wrecking out and losing it. So it's a good race, a good run, good finish. It was a hard-fought race, but yeah, I'm looking forward to the next run. We're going to work hard at it and hopefully get through Richmond and hopefully be back on the podium again.
Always great catching up with you, Christopher. Thank your sponsors, buddy.
Yeah, CWR, Chris White Racing. Got sorry, my headset came unplugged here, so trying to get it plugged back in before it dies.
You're still hot. You're still hot.
Okay. Anyway, C White Media, do a lot of media stuff on Facebook. Go to C White Media on Facebook and catch all my super late model, pro late model, legends, NASCAR, ARCA Menards, photo stuff, media stuff that I do. Picking up with that, looking to get back out there next year for 2024, bigger and better stuff. I got Studio 17 on the car. They're not officially a sponsor, but just some friends of mine helping them out. Check them out at thestudio17.com. Haley owns the business. It's toxin-free candles, diffusers, room sprays. She just posted today. She's got some new scents coming out, and get yourself some candles. The holidays are coming. They make great gifts.
Holidays are coming.
Yeah.
Yes.
Certainly got to thank you guys too, LSRTV, for everything. It's been a long year, great broadcast, and like I said, hopefully we'll see you next week in the broadcast booth again on the podium at Richmond.
Runner-up for the driver tonight, and the race runner-up in the points as well, as he's right behind Dan West Jr. That is the driver, Christopher White. Let's go to victory lane now. Dan West Jr., 3 wins when we came back after the Labor Day break, and now winner of round number 1 of the playoffs. Whatever happens at Richmond, whatever happens at Homestead, he knows he's going to the round of 8. Dan West Jr., I don't want to say I called my shot like Babe Ruth with you on the air for the opening introduction, but I did say if there's one driver that's catching fire, it is DWJ. You backed it up with a win here at Indianapolis. But let's just say this. It wasn't easy because Christopher White was coming hot and heavy for you there at the stretch. What did it mean to hold him off and get the win?
Well, this is definitely Chris's house, so I just felt like I had to totally wheel the thing the whole time. As I think Chris was saying, I was completely exhausted at the end of that race. So tried to hit my marks every lap. I didn't succeed. Then that allowed him to get up there close to me. So I'm ecstatic, man, to be able to take that pressure off and just go have fun the next couple races.
Yeah, Dan, obviously congratulations on your 4th win of the season, man. 4 of the last 5 races now you have gone to victory lane, and to open up the playoffs with a win. With the momentum you had tonight, with how dominant you were, how do you feel like your chances are here for these playoffs to win this championship since you won tonight?
Well, I mean, every race is a new race, right? I mean, it's I feel pretty good. As long as I just put the work in, and I feel like as long as luck goes my way, and it has, and that kind of makes me a little nervous because there's a lot of luck that goes into this race, and I don't want to use it all up now. So I feel pretty good though. I'm like I say, every race is a new race.
Dan, how exciting was it to see Chris White running you down, and then literally the strategy that you had? It seemed like were you kind of, I don't want to say the words playing mind games, but were you not showing your full potential of what you had left strength-wise in your car, or was your car shot and you were giving everything you had just to hold off Chris White?
Well, I felt like my first couple of runs when I pitted, I had pretty good tire wear. So I pushed it a little bit on that last run and tried to gap him a little bit, and then kind of maintain. And then I tried to keep it within that 1 second mark. But then I started losing my focus, if you will, and I just didn't feel like I was hitting my marks. Next thing you know, he was within, a half a second sitting there. So that was definitely time to really, settle down and go. But like I say, this is Chris's house, so he always has something else in the bank, and it makes you work. So I don't know that I've ever worked that hard behind the wheel of one of these things.
Segue this into thanking your sponsors. Your number 1 seed. Do you help your son Devin get out of the cellar he's in? Obviously, he missed tonight. And by the way, he didn't fall all the way to last. He fell to 11th. Stephen O'Hare wasn't here tonight either, so that's a points driver that we lost. But do you help your son? Do you help Jeff Stabnow? Do you help Sean Breitzman? What do you do now, since you literally know that you're going to the next round?
Wesley, it's the same old game, man. I mean, love our teammates, but it's tough to help people in this series. You got such strong racers around you that you kind of just got to do your thing. And if you're in the right position to help them, you do. As far as Devin goes, he ended up having school on Wednesday night, so I'm not sure he's even going to make it out here the rest of the year. So, but yeah, like I say, you want to help your teammates, but you can't, take your own race away from yourself. So, I like to thank Effective Web Solutions, CLICKIT RV. Thoughts and prayers are with you, Wesley, and your family. CRN Sports, LSRTV. Thanks for everything you guys do.
I do appreciate that, bud. We are all hurting, but we all are having to continue on with life, and that's kind of how things roll along. But Godspeed to my brother-in-law, Raymond, who lost his life yesterday. And somehow or another, we'll try to keep on, because that's what everybody would like us to do, for sure. The day that I die, I don't want people to mourn over me. I want you to pick up the pieces and continue on with what I had in my legacy. Dan West Jr., congratulations. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, Jason and I will wrap things up and get you set for the next round of the playoffs. By the way, we're off next Monday. We're going to Richmond. We highlight that in just a moment. Don't go anywhere. The coverage of the playoffs rolls on as Dan West Jr. wins round 1 in Indy.
Time. It slips through our fingers like sand, flowing endlessly, yet holding immeasurable power within its grasp. Tick by tick, it shapes our lives, marking the moments that define us. For 10 long years, the Lone Star 600 has carved a path of endurance through time, a race unlike any other, where the boundaries of human and machine are pushed to their limits. Over 180 cars, their engines roaring in unison as drivers push the limits of their cars and themselves. For 300 laps each night, they dance with danger, locked in a race against time itself. The Lone Star 600 is a testament to human resilience. It's not just a race, it's a test of wills, a fight against the unforgiving clock. Join us as we celebrate a decade of unparalleled speed and unyielding determination. The 10th annual Lone Star 600, a race that defies time and etches itself into racing history.
Some of these guys, I've been racing with them a long time, and they are good. They are real good. Winning a race like this is a big deal.
Instead, we know how crazy those races can be, and you're taking this race and what he did and making a run to win the championship. And man, this sucks. It sounds like Devin West has got the same sour grapes that Chris White had happen with the Monday series, and we might not see the 5 anymore this year.
Yeah, that's tough, man. I wish the best for Devin with school and stuff like that. Obviously, real life, it's more important than sim. I've been there, done that. Trust me, I completely understand. But as for his father, though, man, he's looking to be on the highest horse in the game right now out of all these guys. What a job he did here tonight. I mean, to hold off Chris White, who's been so strong here, who's pretty much dominated at Indy here in the Northwest Division. Just a great job by those two tonight. I will say, though, I think now that if you want to eliminate Devin, I really do think, though, that Sean Brightsman probably is going to be the guy who puts Dan West Jr. out a run for his money for this championship. But what a race tonight. Usual Indianapolis. What else can you say?
And I was going to say this. They're teammates. So these are teammates that are going to battle each other for the championship. Hands down, what you're thinking.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I mean, like I said earlier in the broadcast, Sean has been dominant this first half of the season ever since we came back. He's been there, but he hasn't been the guy we've been talking about. We've been talking about DWJ. 4 of the last 5 races, he has gone to victory lane. If you want to count last week, if it wasn't a super speedway, if we probably would have went to any other track besides that, I can guarantee you that Dan West Jr. probably would have won that race too, man. If he sweeps this round, I'm gonna, I don't know, maybe I'll figure something out to do. I'll dump a glass of, I'm not gonna eat a whole bag of goldfish on camera. That's not gonna happen. Nobody heard that. Maybe I'll dump water on my head. I don't know, but we'll figure something out.
We'll take the ice bucket water challenge. We'll bring that back to get on the Sim World. Jason, what do you think?
Oh yeah, I think that'd
Jason,
be great.
just turn around and jump off the cliff, right? Just turn around right now. Turn around. Look at behind. Look what's behind you. Jump off the pagoda, right? Just jump off the pagoda. There you say. Look at this jump.
That thing?
I'm playing. Yeah, that thing. Yeah, jump off the pagoda. It looks like from your camera angle, it looks like you're up on a roof. I mean, this is what my living room looks like. Okay, I don't have the green screen anymore. I get rid of the damn green screen, and you get one. So I have to bring it back somehow, some way. I do have a green screen. It's somewhere in this house. I just got to find it. So, hey, listen, back to the seriousness, though. You go to Richmond, short track racing at its finest, Jason. We're going to see a great short track battle. And I'll be honest with you, man, you could see a guy like Jeff Stabnow. Ryan Gormley has showed strengths in the short track level. Anybody could win this race. And listen, Dan West Jr. might just go right back out there and win it again and get the 5th win of the year, because he ain't got nothing to lose.
nothing to lose at all. I think we're both going to put our money down right now. I think we're both going to say that Dan West Jr. probably wins next week.
We'll see. We'll see. Let's show you Indianapolis one more time. Always fun working with Jason Rockefeller. I'm Wesley Outland. Thanks to everybody at Rocket Racing Media. Thank you to Charles Wooten. He always makes us look good. Well, I don't know about making us look good, but he makes us sound good, and he puts us on camera. You determine if we look good or not. There's a look at Gasoline Alley and what was the virtual Northwest CLICKIT RV Fixed Setup Series event. It is in the books from the world's greatest race course, and Dan West Jr. gets the win. He's P1 in the win. He's P1 in the points. Oh, and the biggest one of all for win for the year, he advances into the next round of the playoffs in the round of 8. Northwest Truck Series, their playoffs are done. 2 weeks from Monday, round of 8, opening round for them. Next Wednesday night, we're back at Richmond for short track racing. For Jason Rockefeller, I'm Wesley Outland. Congratulations again to Dan West Jr., winner tonight for the Northwest CLICKIT RV Fixed Setup Series playoffs. Be good to one another. God bless you all. And, of course, thanks for tuning in to coverage of your home for sim racing, whether listening on the Community Radio Network or watching on iRacing on LSRTV via Facebook or YouTube. Take care. Good night from the Brickyard.